All right, welcome everybody to the first week of the NFL season at phillysportswave.com. That's right, we've moved up to the .coms. We're part of the big show now. Got rid of sportswave.org and actually invested into the .com for this season. Everything still will be available on our blog moving forward, but we are converting everything to a website as well. I'm your host, Charles Souders, joined today by the one and only Rick Starfish. What's up, Rick?
Yours truly.
So
I'm
JB
sweet.
isn't with us today. Football season kind of creeped up on him. So, hopefully we'll have him in the future, but we'll be able to provide you with some insight just like he did all of last season. So for this episode, we're just strictly going to focus on the first week of the NFL. And for DFS purposes, it's going to be basically lined up just like our articles that we've done every year for the past 3 years, focusing mainly on sleepers. The name of the podcast will probably be Sleeping with the Enemy, unless somebody has anything cooler to come up with. But yeah,
I don't know. We might have to think of something Odell related now.
What was that?
We might have to think of something Odell related now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to have some funny comments when we talk about Odell later on.
Yeah.
I actually have him as somebody that I'm focusing on, so that's definitely a prelude to some comedy. But
because of the poop.
Because of the poop thing. But yeah, so I'm truly excited to have football back around. I don't know if it's going to take the whole political movement that the NBA took or what we're going to be looking at over the first few weeks. I'm hoping that COVID doesn't go rampant through these NFL locker rooms. We did see some of the baseball teams get hit with it. Our Phillies got stuck with it.
Yeah, it's those non-bubble sports that seem to take a minute to catch their footing.
Yeah, and it's a scary thing with 56 men to a roster as opposed to, half of that. And baseball wasn't able to contain it completely. They did a good job, but who knows what we're going to be looking at with some of these teams, week 5, week 6 that might have lost their first 4 games.
Yeah.
Are they going to decide to go clubbing? Or are they going to pull Lou Williams and go get some of them hot wangs? Or what are we going to be looking at? But we are on a time limit here, so we're going to try to condense this to about 30 minutes, just a quick hitter. I think we're going to keep on average this show being 30 minutes to an hour. Before we start, anything to say about what you're looking forward to or as far as the NFL season creeping up on us?
I think we need it. It was cool to get the appetizer with the other sports coming back, but, NFL is king, and king stays king.
Do you think?
And now, especially without college football, and they got,
Well, there's some
Thursday.
College football. My Irish play on Saturday.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? No FBS stuff to playoff, college playoff as it is. You're not looking forward to that.
You think
cool
there's
matchups.
any chance that these games don't happen, or that we're going to be, running into a week where, a Christian McCaffrey isn't playing because he tested positive for COVID on a Thursday?
Well, that's the fear. And you notice, like you said at the top of it, that baseball had to deal with that. And if you notice, it's the bubble sports didn't have any issue with this because somebody does something stupid and they get weeded out. Baseball, behind the scenes, my guess would be that there was a little bit of peer pressure. Guys kind of stepped out. It caused all kinds of havoc, so everyone buttoned up.
It's really,
and you got a 56-man roster, like you said, and plus you got 25-man coaching. It's not just the players. What was it? The Dolphins coach just got out of, a couple of years ago doing blow and ended up in rehab.
I mean,
this is a whole
talking about
rough and tumble culture.
To elaborate what we were just talking about earlier, you have Odell Beckham make that call to a COVID-stricken woman, and she's dropping a deuce on his chest, and next thing you know, he has COVID, and then Baker has COVID, and then all of Cleveland's out.
Yeah. I don't think he was collecting stool samples for science.
Exactly. But I digress. Let's try to we can go on a rant with this for a while, so let's just try to move into the best plays for this week. And as always, we'll start with the quarterback position. Who are you looking at? Who are you going to be penciling in on your DraftKings and FanDuel lineups?
In terms of sleepers, or week one's always tough because somebody always goes off in a random way, and I know I've seen and heard a lot of people talking about Fitzmagic because he was named the starter, but
Because he blew up
Belichick's not a
a couple years
dipshit.
ago.
What's that?
And he blew up week 1 a couple of
And
years ago.
exactly, but Belichick's not a dip. The last thing you do is you sneak one by him, and I think he'll take it as a point of personal pride. A guy I actually like, an out of left field guy is Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
I like Tyrod Taylor since he stinks. Even though they'll be better this year than they were last year.
I mean, I'm always big on the dual threat quarterbacks, and with Tyrod, I mean, you kind of know what you're going to get, and when he is on the field, he's usually getting some rushing numbers, and he'll get you a touchdown or two, and at his cost, it's really reasonable because you'll be able to fit in some higher owned wide receivers and running backs, and then if you look to stack him with somebody as well,
right?
One of his wideouts, and they're not coming in as a top 5 salaried wideout either.
No. I mean, he's got guys to throw to down there too. It's not like he's walking in to a team bereft of any receivers. He's got Keenan Allen. He's got Mike Williams, who should be bouncing back this year.
Yep.
He's got Eckler out of the backfield.
And Williams might actually be ready for week 1 too. They were saying that he's progressing pretty fast. They thought he wasn't going to be back for the first 3 weeks, but he's a big target.
Yeah, and plus you got Eckler coming out of the backfield, so that helps a dual threat guy when there's always someone you can wheel route or dump off to because they're always kind of hiding there in the flat.
And that's really how you win these large GPPs because, anybody can throw in Watson or Mahomes or Kyler Murray this week. Like, we know that they're going to perform, especially on the Thursday night game. But, how are you going to differentiate your team? You're going to get a low-owned quarterback. And unless you're a Chargers fan, I really don't see you playing Ty God. So that's where, that bit of advice can really help somebody win a large pool. For a cash only, I might steer clear of him, but definitely for a GPP.
Yeah, I mean, the other side of that matchup is, could sneak in there too because Andy Dalton could easily they're without Derwin James now. He's got good rapport with Tyler Boyd. Mixon is a threat, so they can play action.
Forgetting about Joe Burrow, dude. Is he not starting?
Oh, Burrow. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I was going to say, Jesus Christ.
I'm stuck on the red rifle, man. He was the face of the franchise.
I have Burrow marked down as it's so hard to go with a rookie quarterback, but
it is.
I just have a good feeling about this kid.
I feel like when Wentz had that good game to start against Cleveland, he just came out because of the talent showing through, and you're going against the defense that isn't exactly top notch.
You just threw me a curveball. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, is Burrow started on the bench like McNabb back in 99?
That's completely my faux pas.
It's all good. It's the first week for everybody. It's there's no preseason for us either. But yeah, and kind of to play off of that, I think a big thing going into this year is defenses aren't going to be as prepared. And quarterbacks aren't going to be as prepared either. So we might see some wild scores. I think we're going to see a lot of points in the first few weeks. You're going to see some big-time performances, 4 touchdown, 5 touchdown games with these quarterbacks. I am going with my number one play this week is Cam Newton. I just think he has a lot to prove. He's coming off of that injury. He has Belichick now. And it's not like New England doesn't have weapons. Like, the way that Cam plays with those short passes, he's going to be hitting Edelman. They have Harry going deep downfield, and they still have all those running backs that have worked in the committee for so long. And they're going against Miami. And let's just face it, Miami's defense, it was okay a couple of years ago, and they basically depleted the whole thing. So Cam's my number one play. And
with what's his name, McDaniels?
Yeah.
Has had to do that. He's adapted to a quarterback like that before and kept the offense humming when they had to use Brissett a couple years ago.
But you're going Brissett, but you're going with 20 times
a more talented guy.
Still, the guy was MVP a few years ago.
Right, and he knows he's not dealing with a guy like Brady who will read and break down a defense for him like that. But he's adjusted and adapted that where, there'll be some design runs, not like it was in Carolina where they're leaving them hanging out to dry.
Mm-hmm. But week 1, we're going to be learning a lot. So with Cam Newton, it's funny because my targeted plays are all quarterbacks that have a history that are playing on new teams. So you have Cam Newton, and you want to reverse it. Brady against New Orleans.
Yeah.
If you want a quarterback to perform, you just send them to face the Saints. The Saints might end up winning that game, probably will. but the quarterback should put up some numbers. And Brady with all his new weapons, even though today they were saying Mike Evans didn't practice, so I definitely have to keep
His
track of
hamstring is
that.
he's got hamstring issues
Um,
historically.
and then the other one is Rivers going up against Jacksonville.
Yeah, we're on the
Jacksonville
same
might
page
be the
on that
worst
one.
team in football, and Rivers still, he can sling it. He still has T.Y. Hilton, still has a lot of weapons with the Colts, and I love the fact where he landed as far as the coaching, because I think Frank Wright's really going to help him be able to prolong his career.
Yeah, and they have a running game, so he's not going to allow him to throw it 45 times like he was in San Diego.
Exactly. So if I'm going really cheap, I'm probably going to go Rivers or Burrow. If I'm looking mid tier, I'm looking at Cam, Brady. I still consider mid tier pricing wise. And then as far as the expensive guys, I mean, pick and choose who you want. I personally, even though a lot of the slates that I'm playing don't have Thursday on it, if I'm playing a Thursday slate, I'm going to lean toward Deshaun Watson, because I think he just has to do more for his team than Mahomes does.
Yeah. And they'll be playing from behind more than likely.
Exactly. And, Kyler Murray, big expectations. I might not play him this week just to kind of see, he's facing the Niners. I'm just kind of waiting to see if the guy is going to fall on his face or not. But that's what I got for quarterbacks. You have anybody else that we haven't touched on?
Nah, you covered the other guy I had in mind, which was Rivers,
Okay.
for all the same reasons. In terms of breakout guys on new teams, I also thought of Bridgewater.
Yeah, Bridgewater's that's going to be an interesting game, because facing the Raiders, I actually love the Raiders on that side.
Yeah.
I almost thought about going David Carr, or Derek Carr, whichever friggin' Carr he is, but he's a Carr, so I can't rely on him. But I think the Raiders are going to be able to go crazy on that team, and that leads me into running back. So my number one running back that I'm targeting is Jacobs, facing Carolina. Yeah, it's even though they have my boy as their coach now, bringing Matty Rule, Temple into the mix, their defense is suspect. They have two rookies playing on the D-line.
Yeah.
They might be improved as opposed to last year, but I really just don't see any way that Jacobs doesn't run all over them.
And he's a beast. He's entering his prime. They're going to feed him the ball because of the Carr thing. Gruden,
Well, and that's the thing.
You have trust in Carr.
I actually think the offense is going to have a really good game against Carolina, but I think that's going to be facilitated by Jacobs. I mean, when you're looking at Carr and his output, I think he's really close to getting the plug pulled on him.
Yeah.
Mariota put in. They're starting two rookie wideouts.
Didn't Mariota get hurt?
Is he? I don't know.
Yeah, Mariota I saw something on the ticker. He's not important enough for them to announce anything.
Oh, okay. I thought I was up to date on all this shit. So I got you with one, you got me with one.
Yeah, he's banged up or some weird thing.
No, but they're starting two rookies and Hunter Renfrow at wideout.
Yeah.
I mean, logically they're going to rely on Jacobs. So.
Well, I like him, and he's a little bit more of an obvious pick. It's at tight end, but Waller.
Yeah.
Just going by that matchup, because they're not going to let Carr lose it for him again in that matchup.
And that was basically their go-tos last year. Waller and Jacobs were how they moved the ball every single game.
Yeah.
And then as far as studs, you can lean on all the top guys, but when you go down maybe to the second tier, I actually think Chris Carson has a pretty big game against Atlanta this week. And I'm looking at James Conner to come.
That's my guy.
He's finally fully healthy. You like Conner?
Yeah, love Conner. He's on my list to specifically mention, because they're going to go back to that ground and pound after the season they had last year.
Yeah.
They're going to establish that culture again. And they don't want Big Ben's head falling off.
You're facing the Giants, and most teams have had success running on the Giants. I know it's a new coaching staff, but you can't teach an old dog new tricks, and I kind of think until they completely gut that defense, they're going to get ran all over. It's rare for me to like Conner and Carson. They're two guys that have burnt me in the past, so the fact that I have them on my list is kind of scaring me.
Yeah, well, Conner screwed a lot of people last year. Everybody on the Pittsburgh offense screwed a lot of people last year.
Yeah, that's true. I mean but that's also because Big Ben went
Big
down.
Ben was out.
Now he's the best version of Big Ben ever. Not drinking. He's back to full pre-college Big Ben. Let's see how
Yeah.
this lasts.
Yeah, right.
And then as far as like real long shots, and I mean these are really long shots. I like Boston Scott this week.
I was thinking of him.
Because I think that the Eagles are, if they jump out on a lead, they're going to give Miles a little bit of rest coming back from that hamstring. And truthfully, they might do a 50-50 split just to get both players in shape to kind of start. They're playing the Redskins, so I don't think that they're expecting too much. And you look at the end of the year and the amount that Boston Scott was able to produce, especially when you're getting, in DFS, you're getting points per reception. And
Right.
I think that that's really going to pay off. And he's like a minimum price. I think he's in like the 4K, lower 5K range, which is insane. And then the other cheap one that I love
Sanders getting all the touches. So
yeah, everyone thinks. And then today, Dougie P had to come out and say he doesn't plan on using Miles Sanders in full force. So
did he really?
Yeah. So welcome to the NFL 2020.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I have Sanders in a couple leagues. So screw me. And then
Yeah,
the other real
guy,
one, Carry-on Johnson, man. Carry-on Johnson, Swift is still battling this injury that he's been battling during camp. I mean, even in college, he only had 15 touches per game max. And I don't think Adrian Peterson is up to the task yet with the playbook from coming on board with Detroit. So that leaves Carry-on. And Bo Scarborough got placed on IR today.
I saw that. People forget how good Carry-on was a couple of years ago, too. It's like he had one injury-prone year.
It would be pretty poetic.
Yeah.
After everyone's writing him off after he was like the talk of the town 2 years ago.
Yeah, their first 1,000-yard rusher in 50 years or something.
Yep, and then now you get DeAndre, who's a Philly boy, and I want him to succeed, but I could just see Carry-on blowing up, having a 120-yard rushing game, and now no one knows what's going on in Detroit.
It's the thing that happens every season where these running backs who are number 2 or 3 on the depth chart or were drafted the year before or that year are, that's the guy who's going to take over. This guy's a bum even though he's RB1 on their roster. And it's always like 75% of them don't turn into shit.
Yeah.
and the RB1 is the RB1. It's like, oh, wait, he's still good. He might not be all world or all pro anymore, but he doesn't fumble.
Still RB1. Exactly.
And he can pass protect, and he's not going to get the quarterback killed. So he's going to get your 4 yards of carry. Give it to him. And Carry-on's that guy.
Yeah. I mean, he's talented. It just something just seems to be popping out about him that I don't know. Maybe it's that it's a divisional matchup against Chicago. I'm expecting something, and maybe I'll fall on my face with this one, and he'll be the one that makes me hate week 1. But we'll see. And then one really, really, really long shot that I'm looking at is everyone's looking at James Robinson for Jacksonville now that Armstead is on the COVID list. I think Chris Thompson's going to be the running back there because I think they're going to be playing from behind. Minshew they're going to sling the rock. I mean, they love passing with Minshew. They showed that last year.
Right.
And Thompson's known to be the receiver out of the backfield for the Redskins when he played for them. I can just see him stepping up and getting a bulk of the possessions. And, if anybody's being played from Jacksonville, I would play him. And I'm thinking he has to be minimum cost. He has to be down in the 3K range. So, he'll be able to throw in a couple studs in a stud-dud lineup by playing Thompson.
I concur.
Any thoughts on him, or do you got any running backs?
I have it fits in line with the Carry-on thing. I think, and like we were talking about Indianapolis on that game, I think Marlon Mack has a good game because everyone's, all over Jonathan Taylor.
Yep.
And people like Mack had a good year last year and the year before. He's been productive. He's comfortable in that offense. Reich is comfortable with him. Now, the chances that he gets a goal line or something vultured from him. But in terms of yardage and getting more of the bulk of the carries, he's going to get, I think, 70-80% of the carries. And
I mean, he's a starter.
He's a starter.
He's a starter where they said Marlon Mack's a starter. I believe it unlike the Ronald Jones stuff in Tampa.
Right. Right. Ronald Jones is starting. Technically, he'll play the first series as the starter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of time, let's move on to wide receivers. I'm going to kind of let you talk it up on this one a little bit. So who are you looking at? Who do you fancy?
If you really want to, granted it's the Thursday night game, so it's not the Sunday game because I got two of them on my mind, and it's McCole Hardman, who can always break one, and you never know.
Yeah, and that's kind of key when you're doing a
most.
GPP. If you can get the guy that catches one long touchdown at a low cost, it makes a difference.
And he's always a low cost because he's overshadowed by their other guys. But last year, man, he had some where it wasn't just like once, or twice during the year. There were a lot of games where he broke one for a guy his spot on the depth chart. So if you're looking to fill out that roster in order to be able to afford one of the heavy hitters, and snake some other people because they won't have them, it's McCole Hardman.
And I actually like him better than Sammy Watkins. So that's the case where Watkins
is
number 2, but Hardman has more pop.
Watkins will have 3 catches for 40 yards and nothing else because he's not going to get any red zone looks. He's the only other one on that roster who can hit a home run. The other guy I like is New England's Harry, N'Keal Harry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I have him marked down.
Exactly what you said. I think Cam's going to be out, and he's going to target him. And he's a first-round pick. He's supposedly looked really good in camp. He's got another year into that system.
It really comes down if Cam can get it downfield. And,
right.
With me being so high on Cam, I'm definitely going to be throwing in a stack with Harry. Naturally, everybody that plays Cam is going to want to stack him with Edelman. But I think where you really differentiate yourself is by going with Harry or going with like a James White and hoping that Cam dumps it off to him.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I agree completely. That's why I like him. And he flashed last year. He showed some talent. He just didn't have Brady's trust, and they were obviously in a certain mode of offense given the limitations they had.
Yep.
But this year, McDaniels wants to open it up a little bit more. Now he's got a guy who can do that. He's got the arm who can do that because Brady was slipping a little last year.
100%.
And Harry's a stretch the field kind of receiver, so.
Yeah, and I'm kind of similar with so Thursday night game, I'm leaning on Will Fuller heavily, especially if Brandon Cooks is out. I don't know if they announced that or not. I know he's coming up as questionable. Watson's always had a good rapport with Fuller. It's just a matter of keeping Fuller on the field. But again, I'm expecting a pretty big shootout there between Mahomes and Watson. So naturally, Fuller, I could see him catching a bomb or two. But unfortunately, he's not in any of the Millie Maker big pools because it's Thursday night game.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So the big money pools, I'm leaning on. Believe it or not, I'm going to give Juju a chance. He's a mid-price wide receiver.
Yeah.
Ben's supposedly coming back in good shape. He was a star
quarterback
2 years ago, and you're getting him at dirt cheap right now. So I'm going to pencil in Juju in a few lineups, and then the poop man himself, BJ, just coming off of this week and just the motivation he's going to probably have from getting all the shit talked to him, literally, about the shit. I think I'm expecting big things from Beckham. He's another one that, 2-3 years ago, they were talking like he was the face of the NFL. Now he's in Cleveland and covered in mud, perhaps. That's a dad joke, man. It's a bad one.
He's in deep.
Yeah. And then, but some cheap ones, some cheap plays real quick. D-Jax always lights up the Redskins.
Yeah.
Back to the Mike Vick game on Monday night. That was against the Skins where he crushed it.
Opening week last year.
The first week, the only game he played.
Yeah.
Crushed Washington. So I'm expecting big things from him again. I don't know if he'll get hurt again doing it. Maybe just give us a little preview of what the rest of the year is going to look like. But I'm expecting another big week 1 from D-Jax. The Oakland receivers I've already talked to you about. They're all cheap because there's 2 rookies. I'm a huge fan of Ruggs. I think Ruggs is going to blow up, and Gruden's going to use him as like his big toy in the offense. It's just a matter of if Carr can get him the ball. And then Brian Edwards is also starting. He's a 3rd-round pick. He's the one that not many people know about, but he can creep up. He's definitely a threat. He has some speed, and he's a decent-sized body. So I could see either one of them and even Hunter Renfro bringing in some nice numbers for you. I'm just not sure which one catches the touchdown passes, if there are touchdown passes. But, I mean, it's like I said earlier, depleted secondary, depleted defense. Oakland should really score some points. I don't care how rah-rah Matt Rule gets Carolina going. It's the NFL.
Yeah.
You're not going to change a team in 2 months on a COVID-stricken summer. And then just for touchdown only, I'm looking at like Kendrick Bourne for San Fran. Somebody other than Kittle has to catch touchdowns. He caught 30 balls last year. 5 of them were touchdown passes. The guy finds the end zone. Yeah, the guy finds the end zone. It's just, it's process of elimination. I don't know who else is going to get the rock out in San Francisco. So, wide receiver, I'd rather go with some of the stars. Unfortunately, the price of the Mike Thomases is a little too crazy. So, to win a big one, you're going to have to really put some of these names in there. And, I think I'm going to be building my lineups mostly with D-Jax and Beckham or Juju, and then filling out with some of these low-price receivers like Kendrick Bourne or the Raiders guys. And then I'll move into tight end because we're really slim on time now.
Okay.
Top 4 guys always. I always try to put in the top guys at tight end. I don't like fucking around. So you're looking at Ertz. He's going to have a big game against Washington. Kittle definitely, and he's a 4:30 game. So if you're looking for that late week sweat, down to the last minute, you want to have players playing at 4 something, you would throw Kittle in. Kelsey's on the Thursday slate, so you can only put him in the Thursday through Mondays. There's really not many options for him. One guy to really look at, though, is Andrews. I mean, he's a Baltimore tight end. They've always been, big targets in that offense. And, Lamar loves dumping the ball off. Yeah, he's either going to tuck it and run, or he's going to dump to the tight end. So I think Andrews is going to have some big ones. And then, the sleepers, I'll just name my 3, and then you can kind of talk tight end.
Yeah.
T.J. Hawkinson, and then Gesicki, of course. I think toward the end of the year, Fitzmagic really saw what he had there, and he was just airing it out to him. I think that's going to continue to happen now. And then Gronk, I'm just curious to see, if Brady has that same rapport with him, if he's going to be is he going to come out like a fucking monster, or is he going to just be the Gronk at the end of his New England tenure where he's on the field a couple of plays and then it's back?
Yeah.
How about you?
How about me? Well, like you said, you always go with the top guys. The thing is that they cost a lot when you're talking about daily. I think you look out for Goddard, too. Like, if you're looking to sneak one in, he could steal a red zone touchdown.
He did last year.
Exactly. So if you're looking for just, to roll the dice, I think Dallas Goddard. And plus, the way that the whole dynamic has gone, I think they're going to integrate him more into the offense. A lot of formations with both of them out there, and him getting a little bit more looks from Carson, and he's a red zone steal. I always and it seems like on opening weekend, there's always a random tight end.
Yep, last year it was T.J. Hawkinson.
Hawkinson, yeah, I remember years ago it was Julius Thomas who came out of nowhere.
Yep.
And then sometimes it's an old school guy, and I think somebody random like Kyle Rudolph.
I thought you were going to go Greg Olsen.
No. He's the popular one, because he's got the profile. But I think someone like Kyle Rudolph comes out of nowhere and pisses off everybody who has Dalvin Cook or anybody on their offense. Like Kyle Rudolph, nobody drafted him this year.
That's
and
true.
He steals and he has a half decent game. He's got 4 catches for 40 yards and a touchdown.
He's like the white farm boy, Chris Carter. All he does is score touchdowns.
Yeah. And then the other guy we're on the same page is Gesicki, I thought of, because exactly he showed that he's an NFL caliber, blocking and receiving tight end.
He's a big target. The thing is with him, he's low cost, and I don't see his costs going up because he's on Miami.
Right.
So last year, if you look at Preston Williams was always a pretty cheap option, and he was somebody that a lot of the lineups that were winning these big tournaments had Preston Williams in it because the guy was, you're looking for a certain amount of value to that dollar that you're spending. And By putting Preston Williams in, you're able to offset that by getting Mike Thomas and, a Tyreek Hill in that lineup because you have Preston. So now, the total value of your receiver core is going up. And it's really, you're got to play the numbers game. You have to, it might not be the prettiest thing to see a Mike Gesicki in your lineup, and you want to put, Kittle in there. But when you're looking at a 4 or 5K difference, that's a big difference.
That's a big difference.
And that's the difference between McCaffrey or Saquon and, dropping down to a, Carryon Johnson. Like, as much as I like Carryon this week, I much rather have one of the top 2 players in the league.
Yeah, if you can add a Josh Jacobs because you get that extra couple grand.
Exactly.
You put in Josh Jacobs.
So, and then defense, I mean, I'm probably just going with the Eagles on almost every single one. Yeah. If I do change up, I'll probably go to the Colts. Just for the simple fact, I think Jacksonville is a huge pile of ODB dinner.
Oh, yeah.
How about you? You got any ones you're targeting?
Yeah. I like Buffalo to come out strong. That
Okay.
Buffalo D, I think, makes a statement because they smelled the division this year, and the defense was their strength.
It really is weird to see them as the favorites in a division.
It's so weird. And, the Jets are the Jets.
Yeah.
I think Darnold has a better year this year. I think he becomes like a legitimate NFL starter and stays healthy. But I think
I'm pretty certain that the coach will fuck it up. Like, even if Darnold's playing well, they won't give Le'Veon the ball, or he'll do something to screw it up. Like, he's not an NFL caliber coach, and the fact that he's still there is kind of absurd.
Yeah, he'll call some shithole play, and something that doesn't make any goddamn sense at a certain point, and it turns into a turnover. And Buffalo's D is just good. They didn't lose much.
True.
They're at home, even though the home field advantage thing is not quite the same without fans. But their opener at home, teams are going to come out firing a little bit, and that defense wants to make a statement. I like Buffalo's D.
Sounds good to me. Well, we got probably about like 2 or 3 minutes left. Real quick,
let's talk about Odell then for a minute.
Yeah. Let's talk about his private text. let's real quick. So, optimized lineup. I'm looking at Cam, Jacobs, Boston Scott, Odell Beckham, Deshaun Jackson, and then I'll pay up for one of the tight ends. How about you?
Optimized lineup. Sorry, I didn't have that one quite as prepared. The actual.
No, it's fine. So, I
would think Lamar at quarterback, James Conner.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs. You throw in an N'Keal Harry.
Okay.
And then a mid-range wide receiver. At that point, who was the guy we were saying? Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's cool. You got Fuller. Odell Beckham.
No, not Fuller. It was
Odell Beckham.
It was Beckham. Yeah, Beckham. I'm sorry, I forgot his name. He's been kind of quiet this offseason. Odell, but I think he'll make some noise.
Yeah, quiet until this past week, right? But no, I mean, this was good for throwing the pod together. Just so everybody listening knows, we decided to do a podcast, over the summer, and then we decided to, film it, put it on the site actually today. I wanted to get it done before the first game of the NFL season, so it'll be a little more put together moving forward. We just wanted to get our picks out there. We're also going to have the article posted by tomorrow, as well as later in the week. By the weekend, we'll have our picks for MVP. We'll have our picks for Offensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Division winners, and Super Bowl winners. With that being said, we're going to get the hell out of here. I'm Charles Souders. That's Rick Starfish. And catch you later.
See ya. Good luck.